Hey Flosstube. So I've been outside doing some yard work and stuff, pulling some weeds. I cooled down and I thought, oh, I was gonna film a video, but I'm disgusting. I should wait and do it tomorrow. But you know what? You guys are like friends and family. You don't care what I look like. So I'm here in my Not a Hugger t-shirt, hair pulled back. It is what it is. But I have a lot to talk about. I even have notes. And I rarely make notes, so if I'm making notes, that's a big thing. So let's just dive in. Duck Derby. Words, obviously I have trouble forming them, but on top of that, there aren't words to express. Like this community, every year that I've been reaching out, which is the past couple or 3 years, yeah, buddy, he always likes to be a part. You guys show up. You show up, and that's what's important. And it's amazing. My company total, I saw the number the other day, raised just over $92,000, which is kind of I think a record amount for us for Duck Derby. But you know, we help about 13,000 families a year, so it takes several fundraisers like that for us to, plus the grants, to really stay going. It's so appreciated. I did the math, and based on the receipts that were turned into me, plus I figure I know there were some out there who donated and didn't send me a receipt because they weren't interested in the giveaway. I think we were responsible for about 1/5 of that. Yeah. I'm also amazed, Buster. It's awesome. My bosses, all of them, were just like, how is this a thing? How is this happening? And I'm like, Stitchers are amazing people. And they're like, obviously, they must be. It's crazy. But I mean, I'm planning on doing it next year because this year was really fun. It was a lot of work, but it was really fun because so many people donated, and organizing the donations into little prize groups was fun. And even though it was way more work, because one of my coworkers was like, you're not doing this next year. People get what they get. And I was like, but no, like, I want you guys to be able to pick your prize. That was half of the fun this year, I think. Because there would be something that like no one would pick, and then down the line somebody would be like, I can't believe this is still here. This is what I wanted. And everybody has such different taste. We're such a diverse community, and that's one of the things that I love about us so much. So Duck Derby, thank you. Thank you if you donated a prize. Thank you if you adopted a duck. Thank you if you just sent me a message during all of the craziness and you're like, you okay? you hanging in there? Thank you. I know I will never, I don't want to call anyone out individually because it takes a village. Everybody in their own way, even if it was adopting a $5 duck, contributed, it felt like. And it was awesome. With that said, I haven't been stitching. And I've been putting off making a video partially because I haven't been stitching. I have 2 projects I've worked on to show you, and that's it. So, when a lot's going on, like a lot of people stitch when they're stressed, I stop stitching when I'm stressed. So, between Duck Derby and earlier this month, we swore in, like I've shared recently, I work for the group CASA, which is Court Appointed Special Advocates. I'm basically a supervisor for volunteers who advocate for kids in foster care. So we swore in a new group of volunteers. Teaching the class is a lot of work. Training the volunteers is a lot of work. Assigning them cases is a lot of work. Holding their hand on their first case is a lot of work. And then duck derby is a lot of work. And then we have 2 new hires. It's just, there's been a lot. So I haven't been stitching, and that's okay. I've been coming home, and you know what? A lot of times I just lay on the couch with this guy and we watch TV. We might watch a Flosstube video or some YouTube or some X-Files or whatever weird thing Jim has us watching, which here recently has been wrestling biographies, or some show that's on where they hunt down wrestling memorabilia. He's not that into wrestling. I don't know why we're on this kick right now. But anyway, it's interesting. I remember these people like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan and all that from my childhood. So let's refer to, oh, what I have been into. And if you've been on my Instagram or my Facebook, you'll see I got really into plants. Like really into plants. Like really into plants. And everybody's like, what happened? Like, the neighborhood kids are playing and getting the dogs in both of my neighbors' yards all stirred up. They don't even have a pool. There are children outside running around in swimsuits. I don't know, maybe they have the sprinkler on. Anyway, so I can't tell you what happened exactly. I think my boss gave me a half-dead orchid, and I tried to revive it, and it is dead. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend like I revived that orchid. It's dead in the corner of my office. But it made me like think, well, I should get another plant or two. And I asked Jim to go and get me some fresh potting soil so that I could replant, repot some things. And he came home with like, I don't know, like a 50-pound bag of potting soil. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? I don't need this much potting soil. I only have like 2 plants. And he was like, oh no, I couldn't find a little bag. There you go. So then I guess I was like, well, now I got to use all this soil. And then I bought a plant, and then I started watching plant YouTube videos and looking at plants on Instagram. And then I got really into like weird plants. And then I got really into like hunting for plants. Yeah, I have like 50 plants now. Maybe I'll show all those in a separate video. Got a little out of hand. But you know what? I'm enjoying it. It has been great for my mental health. It has gotten me out of the house, which after a year of like not going anywhere, like going to nurseries and garden centers and touching and looking at plants has been amazing for my mental health. Which, you know what, I'll talk about one more thing before I go into that. I also have done a lot of landscaping. I had a landscaper come in and do some work, and you know what, I was going to talk about how upset I was with the work that he did, but I'm not. It is what it is. I will just say that I'm frustrated that you can't pay people to work anymore and not do a good job. Like, work ethic, is that still a thing? I don't know. So anyway, I planted all the plants in the bed that he built myself, chose them all, bought way too many plants, and now I'm working on a side rock pebble area that he did not do well. So I'm trying to fix that. You know what? Vitamin D is really good for you. It's not great for me because I tend to sunburn and get precancerous spots, but yeah, vitamin D is good for you. Sunscreen's good for you. If anybody has a sunscreen that they really, really like, that doesn't smell like sunscreen, like particularly for your face and arms, because that's about all that I let shine when I'm outside, I would love to know what you use. Hopefully not like $100 a bottle, because there's some expensive, really nice, especially face sunscreens out there. So if you have a sunscreen that isn't really thick and doesn't smell like sunscreen, hit me up. Let me know in the comments, because I can't find anything I really like and I need to wear sunscreen. So yeah, landscaping, blah, blah, blah. Mental health. That has been amazing for my mental health, which brings me to May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And once Duck Derby was over and done with, like, I've tried to start focusing on that in my Instagram stories, because mental health awareness is a huge thing for me. I have never been quiet about the fact that I suffer from depression and anxiety. There have been times where, you know, I've really struggled with it. Now, thankfully, is a pretty good time. I've, you know, self-care, medication, all of those things can help you be the best possible person that you can be. And I just think it's important for us to realize that mental health is health, that sometimes you just genetically aren't capable of being the perfect, happy person that some people are able to be. Like, you need a little assistance. I explained it to a friend of mine recently who was not really okay with the idea of considering any type of medication. And I told him, I said, okay, think of it this way. Imagine that you own a swimming pool and you're testing the water in that swimming pool, and I mean, the chemicals, the pH, everything is way off. Are you just going to go, oh, well, I guess it'll sort itself out? Or are you going to add something to it to help everything stabilize and be the best that it can be? And he was like, well, I'm going to add, oh. And it's like it hit him. To me, it's as simple as that. But I know there are people that disagree, but I mean, to me, it's science. I take an antidepressant anxiety medication every night before I go to bed. And Jim was actually kind of anti me doing it when I first started taking it years ago. Like, he was one of the, I don't know about medication. But once I was like on it and it was fully in my system, he was like, you know what? That was one of the best decisions you ever made. You're you, but a happier you and a more stable you. And you know what? That's what they're supposed to do. I don't know. Mental health awareness. You can go to my stories on Instagram the rest of the month for uplifting things and statistics and all that fun jazz. So, you know what? Take care of yourself. That takes me next to my brother-in-law. He's home. He's home. If you were new to my channel, my brother-in-law, barn swallows, go get them, Buster. I need those barn swallows to not build a nest on my porch. Scare them off, buddy. He's giving it to him. For those of you that are new to my channel, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, did you scare him off? He did. Had a series of pretty severe strokes at the end of last September. He wasn't feeling well. He went to the hospital with my sister, not sure what was going on. He had just stayed out of work a day sick. He was nauseous, he had a headache, all kinds of he was sick, and he's thinking something's wrong. What if I have COVID? I mean, he didn't know. And then when they were at the hospital, he started getting confused. Started not knowing things like what year it was. That turned into him being in the ICU and in a coma for like a month and a half, which turned into multiple surgeries, brain surgeries, which turned into him being transferred to a stroke rehabilitation clinic once he was out of the coma down in Atlanta, where he was until the very beginning of this year, when he was transferred to like a rehabilitative nursing home closer to where they live. And then he finally got to come home the 4th of this month. I think that's right. He only really remembers the last 5 to 6 weeks. He doesn't remember anything between going to the hospital and then. So he basically lost like 6 months of his life that he doesn't remember. He can't walk. He is doing physical therapy, trying to get there. He may never get there. We've accepted that. But he is doing physical therapy to rebuild those muscles, rebuild those nerve connections. His right arm is not working properly. He was right-handed. So he is doing physical therapy for that. He is having some pain in some parts of his body, like his shoulder. He went to the doctor recently, the eye doctor, and they have stated that he is legally blind, and that if that was going to correct itself, it probably would have started or have been corrected as much as it was going to from this point past his strokes. And by legally blind, I don't mean he can't see it all. He can't see it all out of his right eye, and then he sees blurred double out of his left eye. So that's where we are, him home with all of those issues. And my sister is taking medical leave right now to be home with him and kind of figure things out. He is having a really hard time with going from being a super active person. Like, he built their house. He enjoyed building things and woodworking and yard work and working on his antique truck and all of these things with fine motor skills. And now everything that he enjoyed doing before now has kind of been taken from him. And I think he's as any of us would be having a really hard time with that. But you know what? One day at a time, he will get to the point where, you know, he finds his purpose in another way, hopefully. But keep them in your thoughts. Him, my sister, their 3 daughters, who are 23, 18, and 12. It's been a bad year for them. And that's putting it lightly. It has been a bad year. And they're still looking for good news to come out of it. Like, outside of he's still alive and he's back home. So, and if any of you have been through something similar and have any tips or thoughts on motivation for him, or, you know, I send your solicited at this point advice in the comments or in my DMs, and I'll be sure to pass that on to my sister, because it's worth a shot. I do think she's going to get a second opinion in regards to his eyesight, to see if maybe a specialist has any thoughts on how anything could be corrected in another way. I don't know. I've rambled for 20 minutes giving you an update on my life. I'm sure a lot of people have tuned out by now. But anyway, let's look at some stitching, shall we? I'm terrible at plans, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you about plans, because you're going to be like, Emily, you're terrible at plans. I had said that this year on the 13th of every month, I was going to pull out my Weaver's Tapestry band sampler and try to finish that up this year. I did really well like the first 2, maybe 3 months. And then not so much. Hold please. Something I love right now. This is raspberry lemonade. Like this Simply lemonade. Oh, it's so good. To me, that tastes like spring and summer, so I kind of get on a kick every year. But anyway, I've been stitching what calls to me. I started this piece and worked on it solid for a while until I realized maybe I was a little burnt out on it, and then I switched up. Like I started this and got really far. This is the Mary Argent sampler. This is a exclusive through Country Sampler, which is a shop in Spring Green, Wisconsin. You can buy it from them as a kit. I am using their kit with the exception of the fabric. I'm going to save the fabric for something else, but it felt a little dark. So I am using Vintage Exemplar by Lakeside Linens. And this is how far I got. Look at those satin stitches. Look at them. Look how wrinkled it is. I mean, that's ridiculous. Look at that bird. I really, really enjoyed working on this. I think it's a beautiful sampler. And it's got a lot of pinks in it, which is... I've been stitching and buying a lot of pink recently. Who knows? But I'm excited to see more work on this. Maybe I'll pull it back out soon because it's a beautiful sampler. I don't think there's a single thing about it I don't like, except for maybe the weird cherubs, which don't even look like cherubs. In fact, Schoolhouse Stitcher and Dina, Making Life Count, and I probably mentioned this in my last video, but they gave me a much needed laugh one day because I was talking about the weird cherubs, and Jessica was like, Mary Argent says, I'm gonna stitch a cute cherub, and she stitches a potato. Close enough, because it kind of looks like a potato. And Dana was like, well, I'm just gonna put a turnip on mine. I don't know, I thought it was funny. It made me laugh. Still makes me laugh. So that's that piece. Beautiful sampler. In my bag that Sweet Diana sent me for my birthday. The next thing that I pulled out is from the Blackbird Designs Sisters book. It's this sampler at First Cock's Crow. I am stitching it in the called for threads, but I'm doing it on a different linen. I am doing it on a piece of linen called Old Linen from XG Designs. 36 count, 2/2, because that's how I roll. I'm getting close to done. There was a lot of time where I wasn't working on this because I was stressed and not stitching, but I've gotten a lot done. I finished up the house and the basket, and I got the border all the way around. I've just got to fill it in with orange, and this weekend I've gotten all of this done, filled in this. I've started working on this shrub. I think I can finish this before I put it down. Right here is a little plant, like a little vine, and there's a lot of lazy daisy stitches. And I'm really struggling a little with if I'm going to try lazy daisy stitches again, because I'm not that great at them. And I'm just going to do it and call it done, or if I'm going to like figure out some other way to do it. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. So yeah, that's all I've stitched in like a month and a half. But you know what? It's okay. Sometimes you don't stitch. But when you don't stitch, you find joy in other things, and you think about stitching, and you plan for stitching. Planning for stitching. I blame Jen from Quirks and Stitches, and I blame Heather, Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher. And a little bit I blame Trisha, who are all have done, are doing, or are planning crazy things, crazy stitching for their 40th birthday. Trisha did, I think she did 40 starts for her 40th birthday. Heather is doing 40 starts for her 40th birthday. Jen's doing like 222 starts for February 22nd, I think is her birthday. It's 2022 is the year. So girl, you crazy, but I love you. I love you so much. And I can't wait to see all of the madness and all of the craziness perfectly organized, because that's how you do it. I'm here for it. I'm thinking I'm gonna do 40 starts for my 40th birthday next year. I mean, why the hell not? I was looking and I have so many things either completely kitted or partially kitted. Why not? Let's do it. Let's start everything next year and call it Birthday Madness. I'm gonna do it. But recognize that I say I'm gonna start 40 things next year, just like I said I'm gonna work on Weaver's Tapestry every month on the 13th, and we're gonna see how it's gonna go. I was doing some thinking and planning, and I'm not the person that can start something different every day. I can't do it. It stresses me out. So then I was like, well, maybe I can start at the beginning of the year, and then my last start can be on my birthday at the end of March. That's like every other day. The whole beginning of the year, every other day. That's too much. If I stretch it out all year, that's like a new start every 9 days. Point, decimal, something. That's more doable. And I won't have to schedule it. Like, I know if I at least start something once a week or so, I'll be fine. And I'll do it when I feel like it. I'll just have a basket in here that I can pull something out of and start it. It'll be all ready to go. I'll keep a couple of extra Q-snaps in there so that whatever I was working on, I don't even have to necessarily take it out of the Q-snap. It's gonna be awesome. I'm kind of excited. And sometimes you have to do things like this, even if it's just planning. Buster's on his cat tree scratching. Sometimes you have to do some crazy planning or something. When you really get out of your groove and you're not feeling stitching. Dharma looked at him funny, so he hissed at her repeatedly. Are you grouchy? He's so grouchy. Buster's 13 now though, so he's allowed to be grouchy. But planning this has been, just thinking about it the past like day or two, has been so exciting and really gotten me kind of back in the groove and excitement of stitching, and it's exactly what I needed. So yeah, sometimes do something crazy. It'll be good for you. You want to look at haul? Let's look at haul. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I've bought some extra project bags, because I'm going to need them if I'm going to start 40 things. I'm going to have to make some. I'm going to have to buy some. I got this one from So Much to Love. Look at all that pink. Who knew? I loved it. I think this is one of the most beautiful bags she's ever made. And then this one, I'm not going to take it completely out of plastic. Yeah, Ellen, Megan, Olivia, you told me not to buy this, that I can make it myself. I haven't been sewing. I bought it. I needed the tiger bag. I did. So It is what it is. I'm going to pause this for a second so that when we come back, there won't be a weird file transfer. Trust me, you'll be glad I did that. If I let it run continuously, it's like it doesn't want to match up my audio with my video, because that little break that it takes where it creates two separate files just really screws everything up. Anyway, if I make two separate files, it works. Who knew? So these charts that I bought are probably all going to be things that I'm going to start next year. So I'm a little excited. There's some smalls in here like this one. This is the Tall Trees coverlet. Laura, I think you bought this one. I think it's your fault. But this will be a great little small to add to that list, because there's going to have to be a good number of smalls in there. This is the truncated, little shrunken version of the other sampler. I forget the name of the full sampler. Mary Taylor or something or other, maybe. An adaptation to the Mary Taylor 1828 reproduction sampler by Lila's Studio. This is the part that I love from the sampler anyway, so I'm so happy that she does this with her charts. It's beautiful. Got some of the threads in the back, already getting ready. I picked this up. It's one I had not seen before, and I just really liked it. It's called Skeptical Gatherings by Scattered Seed Sampler. Stitch it up, it would look really cute on a round trivet. This is Birdsong by Samplers Not Forgotten. We'll probably darken up that light blue, but I just really like this. Rearrange a couple of things. Speaking of circular samplers, things that I'm into, this is Give Thanks by Blackbird Designs. By all the Blackbirds. Do what Brenda says. Speaking of Brenda, keep Brenda in your thoughts. She's having a rough time. We love her. She knows that, hopefully. I'm pretty sure she knows that. So, you know, just put those positive thoughts out into the world for Brenda. She could use them. Threads to go with Teresa Kogut's Come to the Garden. I really liked this when it first came out, and I was like, I'm not a garden or plant person. It doesn't make sense for me to buy that. Skip to. Now, it says, come to the garden, thy senses shall be overjoyed. I love this chart. I'm keeping it in this little bag right now because all of the threads, I want to keep them together. And I don't think all the threads are here. I think I've still got to source a couple of them. And then a couple of pieces of fabric. I bought a piece of 40 count fabric. I'm not sure why I did that. I have one project maybe on 40 count. I guess I was feeling a little crazy, or maybe it was just lakeside. So I don't know. 40 count maple sugar, and then 36 count vintage pecan butter, which is just a beautiful color. I've got some goodies here that Letitia gave me for my birthday. I'm just gonna crinkle and show you some stuff. I kept it in this bag so I could show it, Letitia, and then I'm gonna disperse it with my new starts. This she got me as a project bag. She's awesome. I kind of orchestrated this thing where people sent her like tons of scissors. So she sent me a couple of pair of scissors because she's Letitia and incredibly thoughtful. She sent me some beautiful thread. she sent me this chart because she bought it and said that it reminded her of me. And girl, you're right. I really like this. You know what? I'm most excited about the band on the side. What if I just did the band part? That's awesome. Are there specialty stitches in that? There probably are. It's probably going to make me say a lot of words that aren't very ladylike. Says the person who's not very ladylike. Anyway. Maybe that'll go, just that part will go into my starts next year. And then there's a pretty notebook in here. And this beautiful piece of fabric. I'm pulling it out because I think it says, what does your note say? Ah, fiber on a whim, cypress, 36 count. Only available through retailers. You can't order direct. When I saw this color, I knew you would like it, so I grabbed another piece. I love you, Letitia. You're so sweet. And this is a gorgeous color. I'm gonna find just the perfect start for next year to go on this. Man, that's pretty. Cypress, fiber on a whim. So there's that. So that means between now and next year, my new starts, I'm going to stop committing to them, except for the ones I've already committed to and I'm excited about. And I'm going to hold off. Between now and then, though, actually just within the next month or so, me and Dana are going to start this on June 20th. I've already talked about this in a previous video. So if you have this or want to plan ahead, you still have time. June 20th is the first day of summer. This is the Little Summer Sampler by Lottie Da. It's a cute little small 118 by 118 stitch count. I still haven't decided. It's either going to go on, what are you? Lakeside Vintage Wood Smoke or Legacy. I don't know. One or the other. Or something different. And I'll choose my own threads. So you guys will be as surprised as I am when I settle on something. So I'm starting this. And then Ellen and Ellen are doing starts for birthdays. Ellen Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. And Ellen, please remind me when we're starting this because I don't remember. My brain is broken. Is it this month? Next month? I'll message you. She's starting this for her birthday. And I think I got a lot of the threads. I think they're here on the table. This is GGR, a Welsh sampler, Mary Griffiths, 1873. And this is for a sal for Ellen. So there's one. And then Ellen Chester is starting this for her birthday and told people that they could join in the sal. And it's a brand new sampler from GGR. And I just immediately bought it because Ellen Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour is jumping in on Ellen Chester's sal. And if both Ellens are doing it, I kind of feel like I have to do it. Well, have to do it. And I love this sampler. It's so pretty. So I ordered it from Stitch and Frog, which is a retailer here pretty local to me. It's not brick and mortar, it's just online, that carries like all the GGR and some exclusively. And it came to me within like a couple of days. How pretty is that? So this is the Ellen Norris 1826 sampler by GGR Designs. I mean, it's Adam and Eve in a big house. Sold. Sold. And it calls for DMC. So I have to get the DMC for this. else do I want to talk about? Let's see. Let's refer to my list. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Do you want to come up for the last part? Yeah, come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. You just huffed at me. Come here. You guys really seem to enjoy the section I did on my last video, which was like things I'm really into right now. So this isn't so much items and material things. It's just things that are bringing me joy right now. Plants. Plants are bringing me a lot of joy right now. I am loving seeing them thrive and grow. I am enjoying learning about them. I'm enjoying learning about their quirks and what they like and what they don't like and weird things that they do. All the different species and varieties. We're never too old to learn something new. I'm 39 years old and I'm taking up something kind of newish to me and I'm learning about it. And I'm loving it. So, speaking of learning about it, one of the things that's been really helpful to me is plant YouTubers. There are some that just show you about how they take care of their houseplant collections and shopping for houseplants and different varieties that you can find at box stores like Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot that are less expensive than nurseries, and they teach you about all of that. And I'm going to link down below some of my favorites that I've just really enjoyed these ladies. And there are lots of guys that do plant YouTubes, but the ones that I've really connected with is there's a group of younger ladies or women my age that I just, every time they post a video, I'm like, ooh, what is she doing now? So I'll put this down below. Sunlight. I talked about that a little earlier. I've been really into sunlight. Can you see that my living room isn't really like a cave right now? Like you can see sunlight hitting my face. It's nice. It's good for you. Get your vitamin D. Don't do like I usually do and close yourself up in a cave. It's not good for you. My bird feeder. I put it away for a while because something happened and it got all gunked up, and the birds that meant that the bird feed in it got all gross, and the birds wouldn't eat it, which they shouldn't. And so I finally got it all cleaned out and fresh, and then I got the new garden planted, and I put the bird feeder right there where I can see it from here, and where Buster can see it from here. He loves it. I love it. I'm spending a lot of money on, where do you get quality but cheap bird seed? I've been ordering it from Amazon and it's not super cheap. There's a female cardinal just chowing down right now. Just peering in at me and just having at it. She's so pretty. So anyway, I'm really into the bird feeder. That's been good for me. My favorite birds that are coming to my feeder, I love the mourning doves. They kind of like strut around underneath it and eat what's fallen. But there are house finches. I get a lot of house finches. They actually laid eggs and something got them in one of my hanging baskets. But I was reading about house finches, and I guess they were brought into the US as pets, but then they were like, you can't have those as pets. So they got released. So they're not supposed to be native to here, but now they're everywhere. They're so pretty. They're pretty little birds. I'll try to put a picture here. They're so cute. especially the male with his like all the red. I don't know. I've gotten into some weird stuff, guys, but I'm still into stitching. That's not going away. Okay. I was on this kick last year where I lost some weight. Well, Emily gained it all back, plus a little bit. So angry. He hates his sister some days. She's the worst. So anyway, Emily gained it back. Emily gained the weight back. It is what it is. I'll lose some of it again. I'll never be a size 8 again. It is what it is. It's fine. But I'm really into high-waist pants. And the fact that that is a thing that is sold everywhere and is totally acceptable right now. Oh, you're so angry. Huff, huff, huff. So mad. Yeah. No more low-rise pants. Everything is high-rise. I mean, like, dude, these are awesome. Way up here. Way up here. Yeah. Probably more than you wanted to see of me. But these leggings are from... These leggings are from Old Navy. They're super comfortable. They come in talls. These are their compression leggings. Ultra high rise with like a hidden pocket. They're great. They're a little warm because they're almost made of like a swimsuit material, but they're great for like yard work and exercising and stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna wear these to the grocery store, but they're fine for this. So yeah, high waist pants. Good job, fashion designers, bringing that back. I know it's been back for a little while now, like the past year or two, but yeah, embrace the high waist pants. And last but not least, definitely not least, something that I'm really into right now are random cards from friends. You know who you are. All of you who have just sent me a card because you know that like a lot's going on or was going on, and that sometimes just a card that says, "Hey weirdo, I love you," is pretty great. So you know what? The people that you love, the people that you care about, send them a random card. The USPS seems to be working pretty well again, so send those cards to people you love and make their day. That is it. I think that wraps it up. That's about 50 minutes or so, probably, almost. And yeah, I'll try to come back sooner rather than later. Sorry if I was a huge weirdo this video. I'm in a pretty good headspace right now. I'm happy. It's Sunday. Duck Derby's over. It is what it is. So I'm going to finish up my laundry for today, love on my cats, finish up dinner. And speaking of which, I asked Jim what one of his favorite things that I make is, and I'll make that for dinner tonight. And he rattled off 3 things, one of which I had all the ingredients for. I wouldn't have to leave the house. And it's a crock pot. The recipe is for beef and broccoli, but I do chicken and broccoli because we try not to eat a lot of beef because of Jim's heart issues. So you make chicken and broccoli in the crock pot, and then I'll make some brown rice on the side on the stove. And it's so good and it's so easy. And I'll put the link for the recipe down below. Just switch out chicken for beef and chicken broth for beef broth, and you're good to go. So my house right now smells like garlic and sesame oil, and it smells amazing. Anyway, I ramble. I digress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for returning. If you're a new viewer, subscribe, like, all that jazz down below. And I'll see you in June. Bye, guys.